All right, today we're getting a special look, kind of like a peek behind the curtain at what advertising's top thinkers are really talking about. We're going to dive into the American Academy of Advertising's big annual conference to see what's got the industry buzzing. Let's get right into it. So, really, what do you think happens when you get all the smartest minds in advertising in one place? What are they even talking about? Is it, just brand strategy or consumer psychology? Well, we've got the inside track, and what they're focused on, it pretty much sets the stage for the future of the entire industry. Okay, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the summit itself. Then, the elephant in the room, AI. After that, we'll look at how they're connecting globally, what goes on after the big talks, and finally, how they're planning for the future.
All right, first up, the summit itself. Now, you got to understand, this isn't just a bunch of people giving boring lectures. No way. This is the place, the main hub, where all the latest research gets dropped, new ideas get hashed out, and the whole academic side of advertising kind of figures out where it's headed for the next year.
And who puts this whole thing on? That would be the American Academy of Advertising, or the AAA. Basically, think of them as the top organization for all the folks who teach and research advertising. And with leaders like President-elect Hai-Jin Yoon at the helm, this conference is really where the industry gets its annual checkup. They figure out what's working, what's not, and what's coming next.
So what's the one thing that was on everyone's mind this year? You already know what it is. It's AI, artificial intelligence. And it's not just some buzzword they're throwing around. It's a total game changer, a real seismic shift, and the ad world is scrambling to figure out how to deal with it.
But what's really fascinating is how they're tackling AI. It's not just random chatter, it's a super strategic, two-pronged approach. On one side, you've got the classroom, right? How do you teach the next generation of ad pros to use these powerful new tools? Then, on the other side, you've got research. How can the experts themselves use generative AI to find even deeper insights? So it's not just about a new gadget, it's about changing the very foundation of how advertising is taught and, well, how it's discovered.
And that brings us to our next big theme, because these challenges, especially with AI, they're not just happening in the US. The conference made one thing crystal clear. Advertising is a global conversation now, and working together across borders, it's more critical than ever.
And look, this isn't just some nice idea they're floating around. It's a core part of their mission. You can see it right here in the words of the AA president, Jameson. He talks about building the AAA's global footprint. They are being super intentional about this, actively trying to connect with researchers and thinkers all over the world.
And here's a fantastic example of that in action. They held a joint panel with their European counterparts, the EAA. I mean, look at this lineup. You've got scholars from Austria and Israel sharing the stage with folks from top US universities. And what are they talking about? The title says it all. Building and nurturing international collaborations. They're literally having a workshop on how to work together better.
And this is the really important part. It's not just talk. It goes way beyond a single panel discussion. The AAA is putting actual programs in place. They've got a joint membership with the European Academy. They're telling their members, hey, you should go to the big conference in Barcelona. And they've even got a competition specifically to reward research teams that are international. These are real, tangible things that are building a truly global network. But a great conference isn't just about the presentations and the research papers. A huge part of it is the stuff that happens outside the lecture hall. The conversations, the networking. It's really all about building a community, a real sense of belonging. And they pack the schedule with plenty of chances for that to happen. Things kick off with a welcome reception, a chance to connect with what they call the AA family. Then you've got the president's reception, which is all about celebrating the new leadership, and of course, the awards luncheon, to give a huge shout out to the best work of the year and thank all the volunteers. But the real cherry on top, the grand finale, happens away from the conference center. They take everyone to a legendary spot in Austin, Stubbs Barbecue. This is where that community building really kicks into high gear, with a serious dose of local culture. And when I say legendary, I am not kidding. This place is basically hallowed ground for musicians. We're talking Joe Ellie, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, even Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash played here. Just imagine it. You're there, talking about the future of advertising in the exact same room where these giants of music made history. That's just cool.
Okay, for our last section, let's zoom out a bit.
because beyond just this one event, the organization is really thinking hard about its long-term strategy. It's all about making sure the AAA stays strong and relevant for years and years to come.
So, to do that, the outgoing president laid out 3 key goals for the year. And these weren't just fluffy, vague ideas. Nope. They were specific, actionable targets focused on getting the best work, celebrating the winners, and, crucially, investing in students. It's a plan to make the whole organization stronger from the ground up.
And they actually did it. First, to get the best research, they made a simple but brilliant change, letting people submit their work to both the conference and the top journals at the same time. Huge. Second, to celebrate the winners, they didn't just hand out a plaque and call it a day. They used social media to promote that amazing research all year long. And third, and this might be the most important one, they went all in on students. They made a big graduate student award permanent and offered more scholarships than ever before.
So, why should you care about all this internal stuff? Well, because it's what keeps the industry healthy. It creates a solid pipeline for new talent, making sure the next generation of advertising thinkers gets the support they need, and it helps get the best ideas out of the ivory tower and into the real world where they can actually make a difference.
So when you boil it all down, what did we learn from this peek inside? It's pretty clear. The advertising world is laser-focused on 3 huge things right now. First, they're grappling with AI, all of its promise and all of its problems. Second, they're going global, building a worldwide research community. And third, they are putting their money where their mouth is and investing in the students who are the future of the industry.
And all of this really just sets the scene for what's coming next. You've got these incredibly smart people armed with new tools like AI and a much more global way of thinking. So it leaves us with one really exciting question to chew on. What's the next big idea going to be?